did you know that despite being one of the 6 upper moons, Kokushibo was considered in a league of his own when compared with the rest of the 12 Kizuki? I mean, listen to this. It was said that even if Akaza and Doma, aka the Upper Moon 3 and Upper Moon 2 demons, were to fight him together, Kokushibo would still be stronger than both of them combined. Yeah, I know. The 2 of them would never team up to fight anyone, but still, this shows just how much of an overpowered beast Kokushibo really is. Not only that, but it was stated that Kokushibo was the only demon capable of giving Muzan a good fight. So, what do you think would happen if Kokushibo suddenly decided to betray Muzan? Would he be able to defeat and eat Muzan and thus become the new Demon King, or not? Well, we believe that if Kokushibo attacked at just the right time and under the right circumstances, then yeah, he could indeed defeat Muzan. You see, Kokushibo already found out the hard way that even after being turned into a demon, he was nowhere near his brother's strength. Even as an old man, Yoraichi was still miles ahead of him, so it wouldn't be far-fetched to believe that Kokushibo could maybe think of betraying Muzan in order to eat him and acquire even more strength. That way, he could maybe rival the strength of his brother. After all, Muzan considered Kokushibo as something like a partner in crime, a title he gave only to Kokushibo and no other demon in his ranks. Kokushibo was something like Muzan's right hand and not a subordinate like the rest of the demons. So, if Kokushibo played it smart, he could maybe manage to trick Muzan that would not imagine that Kokushibo could ever betray him. But let's see during which points in time Kokushibo could do such a thing. You see, we did mention that Kokushibo could give Muzan a good fight, but that does not mean that Kokushibo would be able to defeat Muzan in a 1v1 without any tricks up his sleeve. What that meant instead is that Muzan would take a bit more time to defeat him compared to the rest of the demons that would basically be just one strike away from dying. I mean, Muzan almost killed Akaza just by staring at him, and the only reason Akaza did not die was because Muzan let him go. So you can imagine how any actual fight would look if Muzan really attacked any of his demon moons. Even if Kokushibo brought some kind of poison or medicine in his fight with Muzan, in reality, we saw that even the most powerful poisons have little effect on him, and thus take multiple hours to have any significant impact. And that only if Muzan does not realize and start neutralizing the poison in his system. So the poison option is out of the equation for Kokushibo. That leads us to believe that if Kokushibo were to attack Muzan in any time except one, then Muzan would be able to defeat Kokushibo. You see, the only time that Kokushibo could attack Muzan and defeat him would be during the final battle that Muzan was both weakened from the poison and also preoccupied with the multiple attacks he received from the Demon Slayers for so many consecutive hours. You see, Muzan was so focused in finding Nezuko that he did not realize that the poison in his bloodstream was making him age at a rate of 3,000 years per hour. That was the perfect opportunity for Kokushibo to execute his plan and betray Muzan. But before we analyze if and how Kokushibo would be able to defeat Muzan in the final arc, during the first of the 3 timelines we will analyze in this video, we see what would happen if Kokushibo made the mistake and attacked Muzan in any other time before the final arc. As we already analyzed, if Kokushibo was impatient and did not wait for the right time to betray and attack Muzan, he would lose this battle and hence be killed by Muzan. Doma would become the Upper Moon 1 and Akaza the Upper Moon 2. During the final battle now, not many things change, except that Muzan would probably bring with him more newly turned demons in order to maybe cover the void that Kokushibo's absence would cause. But no matter what or how many newly turned demons Muzan brings with him, Moichiro, Sanemi, Genya, and Gyomei that are now available to fight other demons, as Kokushibo was not present in the final arc, would surely not only defeat the extra demons that Muzan brought with him, but also assist the other Hashiras in their respective battles. Even if these newly created demons are strong, due to them receiving Muzan's blood, they are surely not even close to Kokushibo's strength, as they did not really have enough time to practice their demon arts. And if they did, none of them would have a talent that even comes close to Kokushibo's. Thus, after the Hashiras defeat their opponents, they attack Muzan together much earlier in this version of the story. Even though the battle would still be fierce, and in no way easy for the Demon Slayers to win, they would in the end manage to defeat Muzan just like in the original story, but with a great difference this time around. You see, the Demon Slayers would probably win by a little easier margins, and thus maybe less of them would die after the battle. But hold on, because you didn't really think that this was the most exciting timeline of the video, right? You did not think all these 3 timelines were gonna be happy, right? Well, don't get your hopes too high, because this next timeline is much sadder than the first. If we now move to the second timeline, we assume that Kokushibo attacked Muzan at just the right time, aka during the final battle. Believe me, you are not ready for what's about to come. For this scenario to work, we will first have to assume that Muzan's and Kokushibo's fights take place closer to each other. You wanna guess why? Because when Kokushibo was beheaded by Sanemi and Gyomei in the original timeline, Kokushibo is able to move on in his next power-up and form. Soon after that, he realizes that this form looks nothing like the goal he had of becoming the strongest swordsman, as now, this form resembles a monster much more than it resembles a human being. In this version of the story, however, we will assume that right after Kokushibo moves into his next form, he does not regret his actions, and thus, he decides that now is the time to execute his plan and betray Muzan. He quickly flees the area and heads towards Muzan. Sanemi and Gyomei start screaming as they know what just happened is not good. They lost two of their comrades, and their target not only tries to escape, but also heads towards Muzan. This cannot be good news. They quickly try to run after him, but Kokushibo is much faster than them. Kokushibo finds Muzan, that is now surprised as to why he left his own battle to join him. But you see, at this point, Kokushibo lies to him and tells him that he rushed to his side after hearing that he was poisoned. They both team up and start attacking the Demon Slayers. This could be a disaster for the Demon Slayers, right? But wait, because when Muzan lowers his guard against him, Kokushibo quickly attacks and manages to immobilize Muzan for enough time to allow Kokushibo to eat him. When this happens, Kokushibo now becomes much stronger. He is now the new Demon King. And believe me, you thought Muzan was insanely strong as the Demon King, right? Well, think again, because Kokushibo is now truly comparable to Yoriichi. Some might even claim that under these circumstances, Demon King Kokushibo could be even stronger than his brother. On top of being an excellent user of Moon Breath, Kokushibo is now much stronger being the Demon King. He is marked, has access to Transparent World, and has insane regeneration abilities. We're not even sure if Kokushibo could also inherit Muzan's Blood Demon art on top of his own, meaning he might now have access to two Blood Demon arts and his own breathing form. Yeah, Demon King Kokushibo would be a huge issue for the Demon Slayers as well. Maybe even worse than if Muzan and Kokushibo teamed up. Do you think that this version of Kokushibo is stronger than Prime Yoriichi or not? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. But no matter if Kokushibo is now stronger than his brother or not, the sure thing is that Kokushibo feels like it. He thinks that he has now finally achieved his goal. When the Demon Slayers attack, yeah, you know what's gonna happen. Kokushibo absolutely destroys them, as they don't really stand any chance to even scratch him. The only one capable of giving him even somewhat of a good fight is 13th form Sun Breath Tanjiro. When Tanjiro uses that attack, Kokushibo is overjoyed as he sees his brother in him. However, when attacking him, he realizes that Tanjiro is in reality nowhere near the level of his brother. Kokushibo kills all Demon Slayers present, but spares Tanjiro. He tells him that he will give him 1 whole year to train in order to reach his full strength and prime. Kokushibo wants Tanjiro to reach his prime strength, hoping that Tanjiro will be able to become as strong as Yoriichi. Kokushibo wishes for that in order to defeat Tanjiro and finally settle the matter that he is now stronger than his brother. Kokushibo tells Tanjiro that if he fails to defeat him, or if he tries to escape, he will find and kill Nezuko. Tanjiro now needs to train as hard as he can to be able to defeat Kokushibo in 1 year's time and save his sister. Even though Nezuko was turned back into a human, the problems keep coming for Tanjiro and Nezuko, as Nezuko is again not safe. Kokushibo flees the area before the sunrise, having left behind him a ton of dead people. No Demon Slayer present that was worth something is left alive. All Hashiras, as well as Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Kanao are killed by Kokushibo. 1 year passes, and Tanjiro is now truly comparable to Yoriichi as well. But we do believe that even though Tanjiro is the protagonist of the series, he could never truly become as strong as Yoriichi. Kokushibo engages in battle with Tanjiro, and even though the battle is not totally one-sided, Kokushibo still has a clear advantage. Ufotable goes all out with the animation, and this fight sequence breaks the internet. In the end, however, Kokushibo defeats Tanjiro, and Demon Slayer ends in a very depressing way. Not only none of our beloved characters made it out alive, in the end, their deaths were in vain, as almost nothing changed. The Demon King still exists, and now is even more powerful than before. If anything, they made the job of the future generations even more difficult, in the sense that they now are tasked with killing a Demon King that is now many times stronger than Muzan. If that happens, the only chance for Kokushibo to be eventually defeated is if someday a boy is born once again that is as strong or even stronger than Yoriichi. But since this is no easy task to materialize, this could take thousands of years until it happens, if it happens at all. Pretty sad timeline, right? Okay, well then let's close with the third timeline that is surely the happiest among the three, possibly even better than the original one, and for sure the most exciting we have in this video. For this alternate story, we assume that right after Kokushibo was beheaded by Sanemi and Gyomei, he advances into his next form, and when he sees his reflection in Sanemi's sword, instead of refusing to regenerate, he decides to turn against Muzan Muzan and basically help humans defeat him. At this point, even if he were to announce to the Demon Slayers that he is on their side now, there's 0% chance they would believe him. So what Kokushibo does is, similarly to the second timeline, he flees the area and heads towards Muzan. Just like in case 2, Yomei and Sanemi start screaming and try to chase him before he reaches Muzan's location. The difference in this version of the story, however, is that when Kokushibo arrives to fight Muzan, 2 things might happen. Either Muzan manages to defeat and kill Kokushibo, or Kokushibo manages to come out on top and defeat Muzan. If Muzan wins, then for sure he does so with high difficulty, and thus is later on defeated by the Demon Slayers much easier. What that means is that more Demon Slayers make it out alive from the encounter with Muzan. Now, if Kokushibo wins, however, he takes the time to apologize to the Demon Slayers and waits until the sun rises in order to kill him. That would also be a symbolic ending, as the closest thing there is to his brother, aka the sun, is the one who kills Kokushibo. Someone might claim that now that Kokushibo took the side of the Demon Slayers, they could maybe offer to turn him back into a human with the help of Tamayo's medicine. But I do have to admit that I'm not the biggest fan of this scenario. You see, not only did Kokushibo kill countless people, with 2 of them being Muichiro and Genya, and thus is probably beyond the point of complete redemption and forgiveness, he also wouldn't want to remain alive after everything he has done. He lived more than enough years, as let's not forget, he is now over 1,000 years old. Kokushibo decides to wait for the sun to rise, and thus end his long and sinful life. This ending means that with the help of Kokushibo in the final battle, almost all of the remaining Demon Slayers manage to survive, and thus live for a few more years before they die due to the Demon Slayer mark awakening that kills its users before the age of 25. A way more wholesome, but at the same time equally emotional ending as the original one. But believe me, not every alternate scenario of Demon Slayer ends in this way. Check out this video where we present what would have happened if Inosuke was turned into a demon by Doma. Go on, check it out!